Hi everyone, Yulia Kosarenko here. You're watching Why Change channel. Today we will do another simple visualization or a simple model that can help you in many projects or for different purposes. Today we will create a concept map. What is a concept map? It's all about depicting in a very simple visual the main concepts that you need to deal with. We could also call it conceptual data model or conceptual model because the focus is on business concept, on the main business entities that you're going to deal with on the project or as part of reorganization or as part of process optimization or whatever enterprise change you have in mind. So those main business entities could be people, things, locations, and abstract concepts such as accounts or invoices, but they all must be important to business. And the beauty of concept modeling is that you can do it with business stakeholders. Anyone on your project who participates, who you communicate with, should be able to understand them and contribute to them. And that becomes a really valuable communication tool. So a concept map could be created as part of your discovery meeting or a discovery workshop when you're just starting a project. It can also be a foundation if you were developing a knowledge base for your organization or perhaps planning a major training module. You can also use concept modeling to get started with data governance, to start to understand what are the main data entities that are important to your organization, what is master data and transaction data and reference data that is really key for running the business. And you can also do concept mapping before you start thinking about data migration. How big can a data migration be? Imagine it's a major transformation. So you have a legacy system and perhaps you purchase a new COTS software. Now there is this big monumental task of even understanding the scope of data migration from your legacy systems to the new system. Well, if you don't have sufficient documentation, maybe the systems are very old, you can start with a concept model that will gradually help you to represent what are the main groups of data that you need to assess, cleanse, transform, and migrate to a new system. So there is many uses for it, but again, it starts with using it as a communication tool. Now, you don't have to be a business analyst to create concept models or concept maps. Anyone who is engaged with projects, change, data, can create one. You can be a project manager, product owner, business architect, any other architect, any type of analyst. It does not matter. Really, it's all about thinking of what are the main important things and taking your big idea and decomposing it and looking at relations and important things you need to consider to plan something, to do a change, or to do some kind of a transformation maybe in your business model. All right, so we're going to get started. Now you can use so many different tools. You can use your collaboration boards, you can use any graphic design tool, you can use anything from Visio to PowerPoint to Lucidchart to Draw.io, Mural, etc., etc., etc. Of course, you can also use a whiteboard, sticky notes, and markers also work. So today I'll stick to something simple. I will use Visio and I will just use boxes and arrows. You don't need anything else for a concept model, just one shape and a connector. Boxes, of course, work because they're horizontal and it's easier to type labels. So here is my start. I'm starting from zero. I have a municipality, and now I'll start to think of different concepts related to municipality. I will add them, but in real life, you may be extracting this information either from artifacts or from various sources, or maybe from a conversation or brainstorming with your stakeholders or from that first discovery meeting. So what do we need to know about municipality to understand how it is managed? We probably need to understand what are the different services that municipality provides, what are the departments and that municipality uses. And for concept model, we are going to use a singular noun. service department. Someone will say, well, we also need to consider accountability of a municipality. And what I'll do here is I'll just stretch this a little bit because it looks like I'm going to be using a lot of long words. So I'll start really simple. What do you want to understand about services? So, of course, there are different types of services. There is also different entities that receive those services. And imagine there is a service related to citizens or service provided to businesses. So I need to understand service recipient. The other thing I may need to know about a service is funding source. If you like, as a next step, you can take it further and you can start defining different service types. For example, it may be justice, municipal court. There might be garbage removal services. There could be law enforcement, local law enforcement. And let's take another example, highways. So highway management. I'm going to move my boxes around so that it's easier for me to arrange these things. So there are different service recipients in municipality. So let me just copy this over. Let's think about the main service recipients. So this would be the residents of the city. This would be local businesses. It could be some kind of non-profit institutions. Let's just say housing development. I'm not necessarily an expert in running municipalities. I'm just coming up with some examples, and in real life, of course, you will have your stakeholders who will provide you with more information. In terms of funding sources, for example, you want to be able to track funding sources for various services provided. So let's say we discovered that there are 3 different funding sources. There is municipal taxes, there are provincial funding, there's federal funding, and perhaps there are also donations from local businesses or business license fees, etc. Great, so we captured a few things on this side. What else can you capture in a concept map? Well, you can consider different departments. What are the important departments in municipality? So again, the same thing, you're going to ask questions and maybe capture some of those departments. Of course, if you have access to the org chart, that may already be available to you. Let's just say we are capturing, there is a finance department. There is a business licensing department. There's a highway management and construction. Oh, let's just do public transit. We can stop here, but you get the idea. Now, before we get too much down this path, let's remember to name the arrows, and normally you would do it as you draw it. So first of all, municipality provides services. The municipality has departments. The municipality has various accountabilities. And as we go back to services, so their services belong to different service types or service categories. Maybe we should call it a category. Service category, and then these service categories include, so these are the subtypes of service categories, these are the subtypes of recipients and funding sources. So service is provided to the recipient. Let me move this arrow here so that it's easier to see the label. And a service is funded by various funding sources. And then departments include various departments. You can, of course, label every arrow. Now let's zero in on one of them further. How would you develop a concept map further? For example, you want to understand public transit better. What are various concepts related to public transit? So let's take a look. What would you like to know about public transit? Perhaps you want to know what are the different types of transit involved. And again, you can either consider the types of transit or you can list them. So this municipality supports buses. What else does this municipality support? Perhaps it has streetcars. So we understand what are the different types of transit that the municipality supports. Perhaps the other aspect of managing public transit would be creating schedules, providing apps to users, publishing the maps. So we can include here scheduling. Is supported by scheduling. And the scheduling would result in multiple outcomes, such as a transit app for users, such as printed schedules, and perhaps we want to highlight that this information needs to be provided to various platforms such as Google Maps, so that the information can be displayed on a Google Map, so Google Map interface. Now we are talking more about various ways to implement and communicate schedules, right? But again, this is just a concept map. It doesn't have to be strict. It's really like capturing some brainstorming about what are the important aspects, say, of managing public transit that we need to consider. So we talked about the types of transit. We talked about scheduling. We probably want to talk about maintenance of public transit. So let's consider maintenance here. So public transit requires maintenance, and this maintenance may be performed by staff or by contractors. So let's just say this involves maintenance staff and this also involves let's just say maintenance vendors. Right. So I could continue, but this was just an example to highlight to you how simple it is to create a concept map. It's very flexible. You can include various types of concepts that are important to your conversation. So you're basically naming things. Most of those boxes are going to be nouns or noun groups that define people and entities involved in whatever you are describing, that will define items and things that are used or created or produced or consumed, for example, materials, products, equipment, and so on. It may include places where the activities or processes happen, such as locations, transit stops, the places on the map, warehouses, buildings, etc. It can include abstract concepts such as schedules or accounts or plans or transit routes. Anything that is important for you to understand the area. From the concept map, you can take it further to develop a data model. You can take it further to think about planning business analysis activities. You can use concept map to outline the scope of the project. So really, it's one of the ways to do that. Functional decomposition, the classic idea where you take something complex and you start breaking it down. And you can do concept maps with any visual tools, from whiteboard or piece of paper to a collaboration board or any visual tool. Just pick a shape such as a rectangle or rounded rectangle, oval, connected with lines, label the lines. Think about your language, use proper language, use the right terms, clear terms, define them as necessary, stick to nouns that are easily understood, and that's it. And that tool can be used at any stage by anyone. You don't have to have special training to do it. You just need to have common sense, think, capture, be clear, review it, and then use it for whatever purpose you think is necessary. So this is really a quick demo to create a concept map. And let me know if you have any questions, and feel free to use visuals and diagrams to help you on any project.